welcome back everybody to Overdunk episode 62. My name is Zoinks and this is your favorite competitive Pokemon Unite podcast. I am joined by one of my favorite teams on the planet, one of the most historically successful teams in the game of Unite, and currently one of the most recent successful teams after winning your Aeos Cup for North America. I'm joined by TTV, and what a pleasure it is. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining, you guys. Already I'm getting Sea Dog questions in chat. We'll have to get to those soon. But before we do that, I do want to give everybody a chance to introduce themselves in case anybody in Unite Monks or listening in podcast land doesn't know who you are. Let's just go in a circle, but we'll start with you, Evocron. You want to introduce yourself, the role you have for the team, and just, a little bit about how you joined TTV.
Hi, I'm Ebicron. I am the analyst for TTV. Inder basically picked me up after February, or just before February, either. Before that, I was competing with my own team, and I do a lot of work with Unite DB. I'm an advisor there, and from that, a lot of math, a lot of information, and Inder just reached out to me.
Sweet. A lot of math. That's an important role in TTV. I'm excited to dig deeper into the analyst role. We've only had a few analysts actually on the show for interviews, so I'm excited to pick your brain a little bit. But Ender, you were the next one up. Introduce yourself, what role you play for the team, all of that.
My name's Ender. I play the support or more healing-oriented role for TTV. That's me.
Cool. Celestial?
Hello, Celestial. I'm now a top lane slave. Forced to play Blue Dog. That's how I roll.
Forced.
Yeah, I've heard
upon himself.
rumors. The force has been greatly exaggerated. Zugrug, you are next. What's up? Introduce yourself to everybody.
I'm Zugrug. I'm the bot lane guy, tank player for the team.
True. Are you any particular kind of slave, or do you feel like you have freedom on this team?
I usually get to play what I want, but these guys love slow, bro.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, we'll have to dig into that too as well. And then Lutano, welcome to the show as well. Thank you so much for the raid. But Lutano, introduce yourself to everybody here.
I am Lutano. I play the central area, and like Gardevoir. It's fun.
Yeah. Guardy is a fun Pokemon. Yeah, a bit of a role swap for you, but since you've been playing it now for so long, I feel like it's tough to call it a role swap in general. But to start the show, I obviously have to just say a huge congratulations to you as a squad on winning Aeos Cup NA. You dropped one map in groups and one map in the top 8, but other than that, a flawless run to being champions. Very impressive. You guys brought a lot to the table. It was a lot of fun to watch. So again, huge congratulations to all of you as a team. But let's start a little bit farther back. This roster of 5 on TTV, obviously we don't have Otter on the show tonight, but is a little bit newer. Celestial, we kind of talked about how you joined the team recently on a different episode of Overdunk, but in general, this roster forming up, Indra, do you want to talk about it a little bit? How did this roster of 5 kind of start, and then adding Evocron and Celestial, of course?
Sure. So a lot of people know our core. Myself, Zug, Lutano. In the past, we had Goof and Toon. Just historically really good friends. We all came to Unite together. We made a team. Toon has always been from EU, so he did come over to Canada to play for a season, but visa and just location-wise, he had to go back. And Goof wanted to move on to pursue TCG, where he's having a really successful gaming career there. So kudos to him, and Toon's killing it in EU as well, obviously. Yeah. So after season 1, we needed to pick up 2 additional players. And honestly, we just took players that we were stacking with that we feel like we meshed well personality-wise.
Cool.
So Otter and Retsu were who we had initially picked up. We didn't have like a tryout phase or like a big team meeting. It was just like, hey, we seem to be doing well. We like each other, and we know Otter and Retsu are good gamers. We saw, they're the 2 players that knocked us out of regionals, so they had to be at least decent. So that was easy. And then, like Evo said, around February-ish, I'd reached out to him to help us with some analyst work. We were having scrims, and we just didn't have a really good way to keep things organized. And I trusted his expertise from the math court in Unite DB So I'd mentioned, hey, we're gonna handle ourselves for February. We just don't have the time or cycles to go through onboarding you right now, but I'd love to have you on after that going forward. He was down, which is great, and he's been an incredible asset. And then post March, Retsu had some real life issues come up that he really needed to attend to, and we missed the guy, but he has to take care of himself there. And we put out a message looking that we needed a top laner, and we didn't have a lot of time. Celestial rose up to the occasion. He was pretty much just like, when do I start? And we're like, okay, well, I guess you're good to go. He was teammate with Otter last year, and like, we trust Otter's judgment as well in players, and it wasn't a hard choice to make. And
Cool.
I think we made the right one.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, essential success. Aeos Cup winners back-to-back Celestial. So congratulations to you having 2 Aeos Cup titles to your name. Why don't you talk a little bit about joining this team, Celestial? Obviously, you're the newest addition of this current roster of 5, plus the analyst of Evo, of course. But how's it feel gelling with this team? Do you feel like it was an easy slot in? Was there a few, did you have to kind of make a name for yourself on this team, or did they trust you right away? I know they're right to call, but you just gotta say it.
Okay, no, it was more so. I will say gelling was a little hard at first.
Okay.
Obviously, I played quite different last year.
Mm-hmm.
I've had rather different play styles. So there's a lot more controlled play style, but after a little bit, it all worked out. And yeah, I don't know. It's like basically it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think that is completely expected. Taking a little bit of adjustment time is something that you might need. But Lutano, I know that you historically played a top path for this team, but now have made the Central area kind of your home. I know every now and then, due to draft, you might flex up there. But how are you liking the Central area this year? Is it a lot better than you were? A lot better, or in terms of fun? Like, are you having more fun playing that role this year? And then, how do you feel like skill-wise is it translating? Do you feel like you were a better top lane player than you were Central, or better Central than you were top laner?
I think I mean, top lane sucks.
Sure.
Top lane's miserable in my opinion. I did not enjoy that at all.
Okay.
Jungle has a lot more flexibility in what you do on the map. It has a lot more flexibility in what you play. Although, I mean, it's a little different now with like draft. Top lane gets to play a little different sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I'd never really enjoyed top lane that much, and I really, really am enjoying like playing jungle, getting to go where I want and play like multiple different roles.
Cool.
Essential. So yeah, I don't know. I like it way more than top.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you are adapting to it. And do you feel like you are performing just as good or even better now that you have a role that you're having more fun with?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I like want to practice more. I feel like I can get better practice because I can actually practice like different mons. Like in solo queue, I would just like practice Lucario mechanics in the past, and now I actually just get to experience more of the game.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's just yeah. I'd say I enjoy it way more, and it's easy to practice it because of that.
Fantastic. Well, and then Zugrog, my next question is for you. I mean, you have been the defender slash tank, or sometimes support, depending on how you look at it, in this newer metagame that we were headed into in Season 2. Season 2 has changed quite a few things for that bottom path, I think, but your partners down in crime have changed a few times. Is it, when it comes to the bottom path on TTV, is it, I need to teach these new players the school of Zugrug, or do you feel like you have to be the one to adapt when you're playing with new players in the bottom path?
I mean, me and Otter just like, we discuss the lane together. We like figure out like what the optimal way to play and stuff is. But sometimes I got a lane with like Celestial or Lutano, like depending on draft, and I gotta be like, we gotta do this, guys. But also just figuring out like what tanks and attackers work well together, right? Like people have different opinions, like this attacker, this tank work well together, but we've like really been working on just like finding the picks that like really mesh well together. Like what should we pair with Wiggly? What Wiggly it would be good against? Because like for a time we weren't picking Wiggly and we were picking it too much, but now we have like a good balance where we pick it in like spots where it's good, tree in spots where it's good. Like we've done a good job like identifying good like what works in drafts.
Cool. Personal favorite pair to have there in the bottom path right now?
Wiggly Espeon.
Oh, that's pretty good pair. That's pretty devastating. That is really good. Now, Evocron, I wanted to ask you. I mean, you are the analyst for this team, and like I said on this podcast, I haven't had too many analysts on in terms of team interviews, maybe one or two throughout the last year or so we've been doing this show. But what exactly do you get to bring to the team as an analyst? And then I also want to ask, what do you find the most fun doing when it comes to bringing stuff to the team? But go ahead, floor is yours.
So I do a lot of spreadsheets, working with formulas, seeing the ideal situations for itemizations, matchups. Like again, being a player, I've also a little bit of experience in that manner, but these guys are like much more experienced than I do. So I'm taking a lot of feedback from them, understanding, hey, what do we want to do with this lane? And the other thing is like team compositions. It's kind of a puzzle that we have to figure out. What is the best team composition? What are some core pieces? And then how to navigate the draft and force certain things so that we can make that composition happen. It's really important to understand the mechanics and the maths of the game for that reason. And like being in analyst position, like there's a bit of an arguably more important emphasis on macro sense, because from a spectator point of view, I'm able to record and watch the entire fight from the zoomed out camera. So for our replays, we have that information then.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You can replay positioning that actually allows that for the. And then when you're in spectator mode, you are also able to see the enemy team movements too. So in post game, you can break those down as well. Be like, see, we forced them into this rotation, which means they show up here. That is really cool. I love that you bring up draft though too, because I mean that's obviously a big change for this team, and I think a lot of people at this point in time would consider one of TTV's best strengths to be within the draft screen. Do you kind of share that sentiment? Do you think that that's one of your team's best strengths is drafting well?
I would say so, and a big part of that is we have Otter, who is also like very intelligent about what happened. Both Otter and Luton are very intelligent on. Sorry, everyone is intelligent, but
We're done.
the discussion,
He's playing it safe.
The most discussion comes out of Lutano and Otter.
Sure.
From our team sessions.
Uh-huh.
And we're looking at a lot of the times, what is this enemy team trying to pick? What do we think they're going to pick? And like when it came to ASU for the finals this past weekend, we basically had the soul read. We had every single pick lined up. We knew exactly what they were going. We ended up knowing, we ended up predicting exactly what they're going to take, and then we had our own composition that worked exactly in our favor.
That's awesome. I mean, that's a good feeling. That's gotta feel good as an analyst to see that playing out in the lobby all three games. Last question for you specifically, Evocron, is you or this year rather, I know the Unite Championship Series has said that you were allowed to be in voice communication for the drafts within these tournaments. Have you partaken in that, or do you kind of prefer to take a step back outside of these games and just be more involved, before or after the match? Or what are your feelings towards actually trying to be in there for the draft communications?
I try to prepare them the best that I can, but we are allowed to be in the call, so I will be in the call. And that's also like at that point, I have a set of sort of pre-game reminders. Don't do this. Remember to do this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And when it comes to the draft again, I'm sharing my screen at that point in time with like basically our notebook, and that helps visualize what the intent, what we want to be doing, as well as what choices we still have available left from the draft.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. I have just a couple more general team questions for a few of you. But Inder, I just mentioned that I thought drafting was one of TTV's best strengths. Would you kind of define TTV's best strengths as a different skill? Like, do you have one in mind that you think of as, all right, we are the best team in the world at blank?
I think draft definitely we've improved on. I wouldn't say that at the start of the season it was our biggest strength at all.
Okay.
I think Evo and like Lutano, Otter, and our whole team coming together, like we've definitely meshed really well with our draft. I think, and this is kind of just historically how original TTV like to play the game, is we really like playing the game very clean, like make no mistakes in the end game. play a point game, don't even let the game come down to Ray or Zap. And I still feel like some of our proudest or our best wins happen to be around that. Like during Aeos, we had several games where we just took the initiative, and that's our half of full send coming together. But I think our strong set is definitely like choke out our opponents, play really well in our lanes, and just I don't really like doing anything too crazy. Just play the game the right way and win from there.
Okay, I like that a lot. Okay, well, that is also something I gotta ask, by the way. Celestial, you were playing on Team Full Send previous. I believe that was the matchup, right? It was Full Send versus TTV last year in Aeos. That was where the game happened. But Celestial, that was the team known for full rip. TTV, the team allergic to ripping the Zap at that time. When you joined this team, were you the one making those play calls of like, we gotta pull the trigger on this Ray, or was that mentality already kind of being instilled within the squad?
I think at first I was kind of hesitant to make the calls. I think everyone was kind of hesitant to flip as well. And I think the more we played, it's kind of just like, sometimes we need to just hit the objective and whenever. Like, odds are a good thing, honestly. Odds are a good thing.
Yeah, play to your routes. Hey, that's that TCG player. I see you, Celestial. You gotta play to your routes sometimes. I completely agree. And yeah, the team was looking really, really clean. That's cool. Lutano, you've gotten already a few shout outs from both chat and your analyst about being one of the members that is very involved with the drafting and things like that. Does that come from just past pro experience and other MOBA titles, or like do you just really enjoy that aspect of the game?
I'm definitely like, it's less that I enjoy it and more that I get extremely anxious if we don't have like every single line like done before we even start draft, So I'd rather put in like, I don't know, like 2 hours a night every night before like a tournament to really plan our draft and prep it than like go in and just like pick random stuff like that.
Yeah,
that does not fly for me. And I did it in the past as well. And Heroes of the Storm, I was the drafter.
Cool.
For Freedom. Sorry, go ahead.
Sweet. Oh, no, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. I was honestly just going to ask, when you are planning and preparing for drafts, is it mostly thinking about your own team's compositions and how can we get these compositions? Or is it, I am planning for this team? I am planning to beat this team with this draft. How aggressive are you in the drafting screen, basically?
We plan every team's draft that we play against.
Sweet. That's really cool to hear. That is super cool to hear. I'm glad our scene is at that level because there's Unite is a new game. Draft is less than a year old in this competitive atmosphere. I think there's probably really solid teams that don't do that. So I think that is a really good mark on your squad for winning a tournament and being a team that plans out drafts against every other squad. That's really cool. Also, Zug, I'm getting told in chat that I have to ask you about draft. How involved are you, or is it just tell me when I get to pick Slowbro?
Well, I definitely contribute in draft, but I also think my team thinks too much. So, my contribution all the time is telling my team, you guys are thinking too much, just chill.
There we go. We need it. We do need a rock sometimes in the communications. Lutano gets too stressed. Zugra can bring us back down and chill a little bit. I like that. I like that a lot.
I think one of the bigger aspects is because of of how Unite works as a game. There's a lot less definitiveness on Pokemon choices. So we can take Dodrio into basically anywhere. We can take Blastoise into basically anywhere. We can play a lot of Pokemon are multi-positioned, which is very unique and very interesting.
Yeah.
The supporter and tank pool right now isn't that high as far as what Pokemon are available. So we may not be like Zogrug and Indy may not necessarily be needing to worry about that right now. But when we get Lapras, when Goodra gets playable, and when Umbreon,
day,
yeah, there are a lot of situations that we're picking that a pick can mean so many things, and that's from Lutano's perspective, like that is understandable why there's so much anxiety. But also from Zagrug's perspective, it's like we just need to play what we're good at. We just need to play the game as is, regardless of what pick we have. So that's also like important to recognize.
Fair enough. Well, awesome. I think that is a lot of good intel on your team and how you all work together and the ins and outs. I'm sure we mentioned Otter a couple times in the past. I'm sure they're bringing their own element of wonderful energy to the team. Depends on how you define wonderful, but I think they definitely deliver on some of that. Let's start talking about Aeos Cup. Obviously, you're the most recent champions here in North America, but you're now second on the championship points leaderboard. Is that right? So currently, you are holding on to a world's invitation so far, if you're able to stick in that leadership point spot, which is really, really cool. TTV looking great in that regard. But let's talk about the group stage, because all of that was off broadcast, so we didn't get to see that. I'm sure there was a bunch of people streaming some of your games, so I'm sure we got a few chances to watch out there somewhere. But talk to me about group stage. I believe you had a really solid performance. You dropped one map to Spinal. Was that the first game of the day?
Yeah, it was our first game of the day against Spinal. It came down to like everyone throwing their spells on the Ray pretty much. We were definitely favored on it, but we missed the smite. But the one thing in AOSO with our group is one team didn't show up. So
that's right.
It was a group of 3.
You had a group of 3, so you just played 2 games, but you won both of them. So you were the clear winner in your group, and then of course was tiebreak on the other end, right?
Yeah, the team that dropped out was our last matchup, so we were already in before having to play them anyways.
Oh, okay. Got it. All right. Well, any other word about groups? Like, was your matchups outside of Spinal pretty straightforward? Pretty big, just TTV win?
Spinal's scary to play against, man. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. Okay.
They play weird, man.
Yeah, talk to me about why. Why is Spinal so weird to play against? I mean, other than the obvious, but I mean, pointing out why in server does it feel weird?
It's just they play weird, man. They just they cap, like they don't play standard lanes, like their macro is weird, like they're just hard to prepare for, you know?
Oh, absolutely. They are everywhere all the time. It definitely feels like that. I mean, you were going up against the Sableye in that game as well, I believe, is the game that you lost. I heard rumor that it was a confused Ray onto Lutano that is why this Ray went the other direction, but yeah, that is a tough squad to play against. Do you think that they are like, well, they got top 4 in this tournament? Would you all call Spinal top 4 in the region right now?
I mean, I think Spinal's really good. I think one thing with Spinal too, though, is like Lucano said, they play different than other teams, and also like they really like Sableye. I think Sableye is a good pick, but you don't get much practice against Sableye because it's not a popular pick from many teams. So them just playing a lot of Sableye, like, it can throw you off for sure. Like the stuff they're doing with it.
Yeah. Okay. Celestial, would you consider Spinal to be a top 4 team, or do you think that they just had a really sick tournament and they're probably still good, but maybe not top 4 good?
Oh, okay, my mic. I actually do think Spinal is probably a top 4 team right now.
Yeah.
I think they play absolute chaos, and I think sometimes making the by the book wrong play is just the right play. Like,
yeah,
if
it's
someone's
just so crazy it might work.
Chaos. It's very overpowered.
It's a powerful tool for sure. That is a tough one. I know you said you had plans to draft against every single team. I'm sure drafting against Spinal can be a bit of a headache. So I'm sure that one got a little bit closer. But yeah, they had a really, really sick tournament. I was pumped to see how well they did. But let's jump into the top 8 bracket. So I can actually pull it up on screen here. I will share it for all of you so you can see what I am talking about. But I'm basically just looking at your Battlefront bracket. But yeah, let's talk about this. So your first game was up against Ignorance, the only other map you dropped in the tournament, and you did say Chaos was a value that's hard to deal with. I'd say Ignorance also pretty well known for playing stuff like this. They made it into top 8. They did 0-2 out of the tournament, but still coming very close. 2-1 and 2-1 against TTV and Luminosity, I think, are pretty solid performances. Any word on how this match went down?
These guys they don't get enough credit for sure. Like, I think their players are all pretty individually talented. They're breaking onto the scene, and they did a great job against us too. I will say, and no discredit to them, but just like our only loss in the group stage was our first game of the day into Spinal, That was also just our first game of the day. So maybe we need to be better prepared going into tournaments, like warming ourselves up. We definitely didn't play our best in that game either.
Okay.
In all fairness, this is probably one of the earliest that the tournaments has ever been, and we have Lutano, who's West Coast, so this would have been very early.
No more 9 a.m. start time tournaments, man. I'm dying.
Yeah, the gamer hours are making Lutano crumble. That's no good. That's no good. Okay, so you did, and did you? Sorry, the map that you lost, was it the first map of the game?
Yes.
Oh my word. Okay, in those situations, you go down 0-1 at the start off a match, a very important one. I mean, top 8, you're within the winner's bracket. How who's responsible for bouncing the mental back? Who's responsible for, regaining and making sure the team doesn't just lose it and go crazy, or are you all pretty level-headed and okay in those situations?
I don't think anyone really tilted. Like,
yeah, I think we're all pretty good. Sometimes Zutano will say, "Wake up, guys," and he'll start doing jumping jacks or like slap himself in the face. Or remind our team that just one game at a time. We don't worry about the whole set. Let's just win the next game, and then we'll take it from there. But I think we're all pretty chill. Like no one really freaks out.
There's a little disappointment for sure from my perspective because I'm not the one playing, so I can't really say much. I do remember just asking like, "Hey, how did you guys feel about that? Was this a draft problem or was it something else?"
Sure.
Just kind of like walking
No
through.
more T-Tar.
No more
Yeah,
T-Tar.
that was one of the takeaways.
Did you play T-Tar in this game 1?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did.
This first game was
Celestial.
the first game was Tyranitar, Comfey, Glaceon, Espeon, Wigglytuff.
Oh, that
The
doesn't sound
enemy
that
team
bad.
was Dodrio, Hoopa, Blastoise, Delphox, Slowbro.
Yeah, I honestly doesn't actually sound that bad, but okay. Just not working that first match, huh?
We just got Neon Delphox is too good.
Neon Delphox is
OP.
pretty crazy good. That's the thing about Ignorance, I think, is I agree with you completely, Ender. I don't think they get the credit they deserve. It was a bummer we didn't get them on broadcast at all, but I do think one of Ignorance's biggest strengths is just individual play. Like, I think they have some really good mechanics on a few of their specific players. I think if they can refine those and get some, like, really solid teamwork down on the future, I think they'll be even better than they already are. So I'm excited to watch more Ignorance in the future.
They have a specialty of throwing off teams in general because of their picks and items are very unorthodox. Their pick for that game, for basically all games, I think, and it was Trick and Shadow Ball rather than the more standard Hyperspace Hole and Phantom Force.
Yeah. Scribblenot's a big Trick fan, I think. So makes sense. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Focus Band Espeon. It's terrifying. But okay, you were able to win that game 2-1, and you moved on, and then you played GT. GT, it's you coming in pretty hot to this match. I mean, they just took down Luminosity 2-0 in their first game. That was our first broadcasted game, so they were pumped up, I am sure, coming into this matchup with a lot of energy, but you were able to turn that one 2-0. So obviously a pretty solid scoreline for the squad, but was it a bit closer than the scoreline shows, or were you pretty much in charge the whole time?
I feel like game 1 of that set was a little close. Like it came down to Rayquaza, but we had pretty good odds on it.
Okay.
And then game 2, I don't know if they just had miscommunication in draft or they really were cooking something up, but I think they led with like Garchomp Gengar or something, and we were just like, we just play normal and we should be okay. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, the Regrets Gengar showed its head in a couple of spots, I think. I don't think it won, but it definitely showed up in a few spots. They were cooking something. So it wasn't working. A bit of an outdraft scenario. You were able to move on. Amaterasu versus TTV. I mean, I really do think that this is becoming a fun rivalry, but the score lines are making it look like it's in favor of you constantly. Zugruk, number 2 versus the number 1 seed. You won 2-0. Was this a closer one? Like, how did you feel about this match? We actually had this one on broadcast, but how are you feeling about it?
It was definitely close. I feel like Indy stealing the Ray in the game 1, though, like, probably like tilted them a bit, definitely put the momentum in our favor. Like, if we don't get that Ray steal, we lose game 1, maybe they just take the momentum and beat us. But I feel like after we get that Ray steal, we're all like feeling really good, and then we 2-0 them, and we're okay, if we get the rematch and the winners, we just 2-0 them, like, let's just keep it going.
One got a cool story about your epic steal. I'm sure there'll be many stories. Many people will be remembering this moment for eons ahead. But we were in person for this broadcast, which was the first time for North America that we had a studio show. So we had a studio crew, and the studio crew is different than the normal remote broadcast crew a lot of the time. And so naturally, a lot of them had never seen the game of Pokemon Unite, so as they were watching, they were slowly understanding the game and getting more into it, and by Winners Finals, they absolutely understood what stealing a Rayquaza means, and I kid you not, like, me and Chef and the entire crew that wasn't just casting, we were all, like, jumping up and down, popping off at the Intersteal. It was crazy, like, from people who had never seen the game before to being like, oh my god, an egg? We were, like, losing it. It was pretty great. Felt like Christmas morning. It was awesome. But yeah, crazy game win. Yeah, I do think the tilt probably swung at Amaterasu there. I mean, how could it not? But game 3 of the grand final that you played, only 4 sets to win the whole thing and win 10 grand. That's got to feel pretty good. But hey, TTV, you took down Amaterasu yet again, 3-0. Evacron, you were mentioning that you were very confident about the drafts headed into the grand final against Amaterasu. Were you feeling that same way in winners finals? Like you were like, no, we got a good read on them?
We actually had the best read in winners specifically
Okay.
When they were dropped down to lower bracket. We almost felt that like some of the strategies that they were employing almost felt like they took a bit of what they learned from the winners final draft into that. So there's a little bit of concern coming back to it, but we ended up grabbing exactly what we were looking for and we made a couple of minor adjustments.
Yeah.
But yeah, we basically had the sole read on them for the entire final set. And it's not to say that these guys are predictable, but they're not predictable at all still.
Right.
But we just happen to have a very good understanding of what have they been doing this tournament, what have we been doing, what has worked for us, and we played to those strengths.
Yeah. I thought it was sick. Zugrug, you went absolutely sicko mode on the slow bro this game. It was nuts. A bunch of us were having fans of it. Dupsnax and Spraggles and I were riding back to the hotel in our Uber, and we were like, where did that come from? So how, like, have you just always been practicing Slowbro for a long time and not implementing it into a tournament? What's the reason for that? How come we've never seen this god tier Slowbro, or at least not seen it for a minute? Where did it come from, Zugrug?
I mean, I practice all the tanks, even the ones that aren't like viable in tournaments. I feel like I still stay fresh on all of them, but we hadn't like recently. We've just been playing like a lot of Slowbro as a team, and like I've obviously got better at playing Slowbro just playing it a lot, but the one thing that has happened too is we've got better at playing as a team around Slowbro because, my usual tanks are, things that I just run in on, a Snorlax, Wiggly, and then people follow up. Whereas Snorlax or Slowbro, it's kind of different. Like you're more defensive, peeling for the team, or like, when you pull the trigger with like a flash ult or something, you get the one kill. It's like, all right, we got to flip it. We got to do something. So it's definitely like an adjustment as a team, like when I'm playing something like Slowbro, and we've done well at like playing around my different picks.
Okay, well, cool. I mean, a bit of a team adaptation, that's fine. I guess we don't have to just pump you up as an individual player, but hey, Celestial, your Lucario looked absolutely nuts as well. That was fun to see. Obviously, we know that you, as a top lane player, really prefer this pick over some others, but it looked really good. You brought some unconventional builds, Power Up Punch, Bone Rush, of course, being the one that I think got to mention, but you also got to play a bunch of extreme speed into comps that actually favored it. So, how you feeling about Lucario right now? It's definitely not popular, but what are your thoughts on the Blue Dog?
I think Lucario is in a pretty good state, honestly. It's probably the best state it's been in. Not in terms of OP, but it's one of the most balanced mons, I think. It consistently does what you need it to do, and I favor that. If something can consistently do what we need it to do, like, I will always prefer that. Consistency is just really important in Unite.
Yeah. Sorry, I just showed what DMs I'd received, not the actual text, but the list of them. And so Gamma messaged me so that they'd be at the top of the DM list. So my bad on stream. But I completely agree with you, Celestia. I do think that Lucario is in a pretty good spot compared to where most people's opinions of them are. All right, just last talk about Aeos Cup before we move on to just some general questions that we have from Twitter. We'll probably get some from chat here in a minute, so don't worry, chat. We'll get some questions from you. But I gotta ask, maybe just rapid fire roundtable. Let's get everybody's. Let's give their MVP of the tournament. Evocron, who's the MVP of this tournament on your squad?
Can I answer that? Can I answer last?
Absolutely,
haven't thought
Lutano,
about this
you're up
one, really.
first.
MVP?
Yeah.
I'll go with the Sea Dog.
All right, Sea Dog and Zugrug. So you can say yourself if you would like.
I'll give it to Ender.
Okay. One vote for it's all of a sudden turned into voting, but yeah, one vote for Celestial, one vote for Ender.
I mean, Ender got the most race secures. It's got to be Ender.
I
That is
have
true.
to go for
Yeah,
Lutano from the amount of draft prep. Like,
Yeah.
the drafts were almost all flawless, and I think that really did a lot for us winning.
Oh,
It may
yeah.
not be like specifically in game, but
Cool. That's still worthy of MVP, I think. Preparation makes things a little bit easier. Ender, how about you?
I'd never say myself. I definitely think Zugrug. I mean,
Okay.
he says that we all got better on playing on Slowbro, but I remember at some point during the tournament, I was like, we need to change up a little bit of our draft prep and just make sure we get bro, because it's like smurfing on it today.
Yeah.
It worked out.
Sometimes you just gotta. Who cares how many guards they have on them? Just get MJ the ball, right? Like, just get MJ the ball, let him shoot. Sometimes that has to be the draft decision. I like that a lot. All right, Evo. Currently, there is a vote for each member of the team, so you are now the tie prick. Who is going to be the MVP of the tournament from your eyes?
I think I have to say. That's a really tough question. I think I still have to say Ender on this one.
Right.
And the main reason for that is closer to the end of the day, Ender made a really good recognition of what needed to be done within the game, and that's something that I've been trying to emphasize to the team a lot, which is when you're in the game, somebody needs to be the end game shot caller, end game like identifier of what's going on, and from the support role, Ender has a lot more freedom to do that. And so, like, I really appreciate him being able to step up and push the team towards. I distinctly remember Ender indicating that Lutano, you cannot die. You are the carry. We cannot have you die, and just like spent everything to keep him alive.
Yeah, sometimes you got to. Sometimes you got it all in, but very, very cool. Okay, well, awesome. I think let's pivot into some questions we have from Twitter. We just mentioned Ender. Ender, let's do the first one for you. This one comes from Xavier Miller saying, what comms do you give to your teammates? Being a support player, what do you like to communicate to your squad when entering a fight? Or are you more specifically of a be told where to be during pivotal moments? Love the podcast. Oh, that's for me. And congrats on the win. Love seeing TTV play. Whew, fit that in flawlessly.
I think one thing I like to do, and it's more of a back and forth dialogue than me just telling people what to do, is me and Celestial start the game and I'll try to come up with a plan on how I want to approach the lane. And then throughout the fights, it's again just like dialogue, like I'm looking to heal you, or I'm looking to get in position, or call for an ult. I don't think anyone on our team is more like point and tell this person to do that. Maybe that's sometimes a weakness of ours, but I think the fact that we all trust each other to be able to make like in-game dialogue and like overcall when we need to is also one of our strengths.
Cool. I think it's a good answer. Lutano, this one's for you. A bit of a different energy. The Conte Cowboy says this one. Where do you get off with your trainer card and hollowware choice?
All I'm saying is, out of all those trainer cards you saw pop up, which trainer card do you remember the most?
That's not
Lutano
right.
still hasn't figured out how to change it.
If I could say two, it's Megu and Utah on Daily Bobo, because that one's iconic. But I mean, actually, also Bruvs is pretty amazing.
To be fair, we didn't have a chance to watch EU because we were playing.
Okay. Well, in NA then maybe NA we have the top one within Lutano. Hey, I kind of agree with you, Lutano. I think sometimes the no flex is the best flex. So the Hollow Air one we'll have to debate, but I think I think in terms of trainer card, that one's pretty good. Celestial, this one was asked for you and for Otter, but how was it nice reuniting with an old teammate, or is it just absolute pain to have to play with Otter?
You muted Celestial.
T-Dog.
Uh-oh.
Dog. We lost him. We had him for a second.
Wait, hello?
There
Hello?
you are.
There we go.
Okay. It's actually really nice. So I'll be back playing with Alan. Feels fitting in a way, you know? Played with him all of last year, and about time.
Cool. Yeah, I reunited and it feels really good. That's an Aeos Cup win, so getting paid so far with it. Zugrug, this one's for you. What is your favorite play that you've made with Slowbro? Did any come to mind, or maybe even like a specific tech you really like doing with Slowbro? I mean, Feppy and I were fangirling about it on the podcast last night about how you were stopping Hoopa resets with Surf. Like, that is not easy. That is actually insane. So, thoughts, what is your favorite play you've made with Slowbro? And if you have any tips for solo queue Slowbro players.
I mean, the best play I made for sure was knocking the 3 out of the portal after Lutano stole the Reggie, and we just cleaned up. Like, Lutano went from like, he goes down there, he's like level 10, and then he's almost level 13. It's like, oh, you know, not bad.
Things went pretty well down here, yeah.
Yeah. Lutano started running away from the portal, and I'm like, Lutano, come back. And he's like, wait a second.
I was like, there's no way, dude.
There's no way. Hey, you're Speedster, you can go and come back. That's great. That's so funny. Okay. Evercron, this one was specifically for you. I had it pulled up from Landhands was saying, what are some tools and tips for any aspiring analyst?
Honestly, loving the data that you're working with, loving the maths that you work with, learning spreadsheets, whether that be Google spreadsheets or Excel, and being curious about the game, learning the mechanics. There's just so much hidden depth behind this game. And even though we have Unite DB, which like a little bit of shill here, like part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we put everything on there. Like,
yeah.
There's a lot of people who just don't really know what Pokemon do. I'm gonna call out my guys here, but they didn't really know what Espeon Psybeam did for damage.
Whoa, not
Okay, let's call me out here. Okay, let's be specific. I am proud that I did not know what it did. I am.
Oh my word. Hey, they is a pretty good general term. Very political. I like that a lot. Okay.
T-Dog.
Look, I did not know that thing bounced, okay? Like, I didn't know it bounced.
Oh, well, now you do. Thanks, Unite DB. Okay, the next one actually is just general. How many hours are you up practicing as a team? I know right now you're probably going to be taking a break for the next week or two. It's a pretty huge break before the next monthly qualifier, but in preparation for Aeos Cup, were you practicing every single day? How many hours a day as a team? I know there's probably some individual streaming and stuff that goes on for some of you, but if you had to say as a team, we are practicing this much, how many hours are we looking at per day?
Anywhere between 2 to 4 hours
a
day, and with a day or two off per week.
Okay.
Cool. I think in the past we've done more, and it's felt like too much, so we've had to find a balance.
We started practicing more efficiently as opposed to with quality over quantity.
That's good. I mean, that's a huge benefit that you can bring to the team, Evacron, so that's awesome. I have one more question. Why don't you play Hoopa more anymore, huh? Specifically Trick Hoopa. I'm adding a lot of attitude to this one because that's how I'm reading it by Run Ray Run on Twitter. But yeah, where's it at, huh?
I love playing Hoopa. It's probably still my favorite character, but I don't know. I mean, I steal one Ray with Egg Bomb, and my team's like, we need Blissey every game, so I let them pick it for me.
Okay, well, there you go. All right, I'm not gonna read any of the cat questions. We
those for
talked
Otter?
about Tilt. No, they're not. They're from everybody else. We talked about Tilt a little bit early on. We said you're all pretty level-headed. We already actually talked about what kind of plays that took you off guard a little bit at tournaments, but Kanashi, a fellow Unite caster, actually asked this question. I thought it was really interesting. What's your opinion of Talibobo Believers, the other favorite to win Aeos Cup, but have won a couple of monthly tournaments in the past? And I know that you have previously played Batoon, who's obviously a superstar over there. Do you work with them at all? Do you not communicate very much because they're in EU? Scram on ping. Yeah, any communication with the former teammate of Toon and on Talibobo?
We've scrimmed them a little bit. Obviously, it's tough with the ping, and
Right.
I think they're all really good players. Toon is still our friend. I still bounce ideas back and forth with Toon when it comes to draft and whatnot. And it's just, I mean, it's gonna be really fun playing them in Worlds. That's what I'm most excited for.
Okay. Yeah, that's gonna be good. That's gonna be really fun. Emperor God Ender, when will you stream? I've heard rumors. Very soon. This one's just really fun, and I want to ask it. Anyone can answer this one or none, but I'm curious. If you, as a human being, went into battle on Aeos Island, what 3 items would you equip yourself with and why? I'd say stick to in-game items, but yeah, what 3 held items would you strap on if you were gonna head into the battle?
Rocky helmet, assault vest, leftovers.
Leftovers is good. I like that as the final inclusion. Well, at least it would see some representation of the game. That's great. Awesome.
I'm gonna go with Aeos Cookie, Focus Band, and Energy Amplifier. Energy Amplifier is a megaphone to call for help. Cookie because it's food and rations. And then a Focus Band because you can probably tear it apart and use it for bindings or first aid.
Yeah, there you go. Cookie's like a broken one too, because, well, I don't know exactly how the mechanics work or if I could reach the hoop, but if I could dunk Aeos energy in some way, I think I get more cookies. So that seems really good. That seems like infinite food, and I'm here for it. Oh, this was a fun one. I saw it asked in chat before too. Do you all have like a ritual before important games that you do? Is there any team ritual? Do you all sing a song together? I know Lutano does some jumping jacks, but that's usually to negate tilt, so or if he has to wake up for a 9 a.m. tourney. What is there any pre-game ritual for the squad? Zoinks can't dunk. That is okay. That's for a different podcast. Lutano, go ahead.
Sometimes we all agree,
Wow. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Wow, unbeatable energy right there. The whole team agreeing.
Before we start the game, this is what we're first banning. Agree, and I don't start the game until everyone says agree. And C-Dog hates saying agree.
Agree. That just makes me agree. Like I get like choices in it. Like I don't have a choice. It's just like lock it in,
I just asked when I'm allowed to pick Lucario. At what stage of the draft do I grab it? That's all I know. Fair enough. Okay, well, awesome. Chat, now's your time. If you want to ask a question, why don't you throw it into the chat now? I actually saw what also on Twitter from Maps, I believe, was saying, anybody playing any other games than Unite right now? Any casual games in your free time?
I play TFT a little bit, just casually.
Nice,
Teamfight Tactics.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly just Unite.
Yeah. If there was a Pokemon auto battler, would you play it, Zugrug?
Yeah, I'd play. I could learn some more Pokemon that way.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That was true. Where did the Bone Rush pup Lucario come from? I think we talked about that a little bit, Celestial. You said it was pretty underrated, right?
Yeah, I mean the moveset's always been good. It's really good into certain matchups. Like a big one actually is Venusaur, for example. Really good. You just microstun it over and over again, essentially, and you can burst it. There's a lot of like good matchups, especially into like EVs and stuff as well. It's hard to get a close combat off onto them, so Bone Rush just makes more sense.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. Somebody asking, who is the most likely to get scared by a horror movie?
I am.
Okay.
100%.
I was gonna say Lutano, but
no, I was gonna say Otter, dude. Otter's got that nervous energy, man.
That's that team energy that we need. Okay, well, Maps wants to know, Zogrug, How do you balance your gaming life and personal life having so many wives?
It's tough, but we make it work. We go by the saying "Happy Zog, happy life." You've heard that one before, right?
I have from all of your wives in chat. I think
Make them compete as a team.
Yeah. Also, why? Yeah, hasn't they been answering? That's awesome. Also, why?
They played in the tourney, yeah. The Zug wives.
Yeah, I can't believe the chat was letting it happen. Do you want Zapdos back now that you have Team Full Send members? Yeah, are we on the bring Aeos or bring Remote Stadium back into the rotation now that we have Celestial and Otter? They are broken on that map.
I'll pass. I think it's.
Yeah,
I haven't had the most fondest memories on that map.
Yeah, that's true. The majority, I think, is We'll leave that one alone. Zenith in chat's asking, Zacian is not banned in its current state. Do you think that we're gonna see like 100% ban rate on orange side?
No.
No, you don't. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Lutano always hates the new Pokemon though, so we'll see.
Lutano, you think Zacian's bad? I see.
I say, show me it's good before I ban it.
Lutano said releaseation wasn't OP.
So when it was bugged, it was broken for sure.
I was happy to go along with you for a minute. I don't know about that. All right. Meta asking, what changes or additions would you want in a new map?
I want a map that lasts 15 minutes long. I think it'd make the game a lot different. Maybe nerf the overall XP on everything, that like promote some more slow play. But I just think it'd be interesting to have a 10-minute map and a 15-minute map.
Okay, here's my crazy idea for a 15-minute map. It would have to be like an alternate mode or something like this. But we have a decent amount of Pokemon in the game that have Mega Evolutions. What if we had a 15-minute map and the level cap went to 20, and if you got to level 15, you Mega Evolved? And then you had like 5 levels of Mega Evolution for the end game. I think that would be pretty fun. That would have to be like quick mode or something. There's no way to balance that. It would be ridiculous. But I do think it would be pretty fun. So that's my hot suggestion that I did talk to Pokemon Company about. But we all suggested a lot of things. So
he just leaked the new map. Oh my god.
I did.
New map leak.
Oh no. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no luck. Okay, chat, keep questions coming, by the way, if you have any for the side of TTV. Also, someone asking when will Sea Dog bark? Probably never. I don't want to get canceled.
He promised us.
He promised
he would bark.
He said when we win, but now he said when we win Worlds.
I did not.
So,
it's a world
he
angle.
specify what we had to win.
Okay.
Now he's specified.
Ooh, I like this one. Twitcher Unite asking Zugrug, if there's friendly fire, who you knocking out first?
Redacted.
I was laughing. I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I'm dead.
Oh my gosh. Ooh, okay, that's kind of a fun question. Just saying, who is the best non-TTV member for your respected roles? Inder, best supported North America. Okay, that's like a tier listy stuff. That's a pretty big question. Inder, is there a support out there you really respect quite a bit? What they're doing on the map?
I think I'll give it to JL. He played Dota in the same position I played in Dota, I think.
Okay, sick.
So we have like a similar kind of mindset.
Okay. I like that. Celestial, any other top laners out there right now?
Skip me for now. Come back to me.
Okay. Zugrug, tanks.
I mean, I think Slash, because we've been playing against each other for a long time, but Roland has been looking really good this season on ASU.
Yeah, Roland's looking sick too. ASU is just a whole squad. How about you, Lutano? Any junglers?
Trainer.
Oh yeah, cool. Okay, a lot of love for ASU across the board. I like this a lot. Celestia, have you thought of a new one?
I guess I just have to go Overlord.
Sure.
It's kind of the expected answer, but
that's totally fine. Evocron, any analysts out there you want to go into a 1v1 analyst fight with?
I primarily think there's just Ven.
Right.
I don't think there are a lot of analysts around per se. And if there are more, like, I have not necessarily interacted with them.
Sure, fair enough. Okay, cool. I think we'll go with this one last rapid fire question before we wrap up the show. But if you had to be a gym leader, what type would you want to train, Evocron?
Probably water.
Okay. Okay, water type's pretty cool. Ender?
Like a grass psychic or something, like a dual type.
Oh, dual type gym. Okay, very fun, very fun. Celestial?
Dark type gym. There's so many cool dark type mons.
You're so
honestly.
edgy.
Dude, he's so edgy. Oh my gosh. The emo music that would be playing when you walk into Celestial's gym would be a bop. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be there for it. Zugrog,
Sorry,
what
we're real.
types?
we
I
allowed
get
to
all
do
the
something?
cat types.
All the cat types, okay, so no Pokemon at all. Evacron, what were you saying?
Were we allowed to do devil types?
Sure, yeah, why not? I don't know, it breaks the rules, but
I'll
it's a
go
new
water- I'll go
gen. We
water
can do
and
whatever we
steel.
want.
Okay, I'll go water and steel then.
Water steel. Okay, that's pretty fun. That's pretty fun. Lutano.
Poison fighting.
Ooh, just Toxicroak. 6
Oh, yeah.
Toxicroak. I like it. That's a fun combination too. Okay, well, awesome. Cool. I think it's mine is Ghost. Duh. Anyway, I think that's a good spot to end it. Thank you so much for joining the interview, everybody, especially to the team here. Congrats on winning Aeos Cup yet again, but I would be remiss if I didn't give you all a chance to sell out, shout out, plug, whatever you need to. Where can people find you on their socials? Just a quick roundabout one more time. Evacron, where can people find you?
I don't remember my Twitter handle actually. Can you come back to me?
Yes. Oh, I love gamers. Ender, you're next.
Just Ender on Twitch, and then everything's linked in there.
Cool. Celestial.
It's just Celestial Unites on Twitter and Twitch. That's pretty much the only 2 things I use.
There you go. Go find him. Zugrug.
Zugrug on Twitch.
Cool. Lutano.
Lieutenant on Twitch, Lieutenant_Hots on Twitter.
Fantastic. Evacron, did you find it?
Yeah, it's IANFAN, Ian_13 on Twitter. On Twitch, I'm Evercron13. I don't stream a lot, but if you want to follow anyways, sure.
Go support the analysts of the scene for sure. Well, thank you everybody. If you want to follow me on Twitter at Zoinks, but more importantly, follow Unite Mics at Unite Mics. Go check out the YouTube channel where we'll be posting this episode and all the other episodes of Overdunk, as well as if you are watching this on or listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google or whatever it is, please leave that 5-star review. It just helps more people find the show. But with all of that out of the way, thank you so much to TTV for joining this interview. Thanks everybody in chat for showing up to the live recording, and we'll see you all next time. Goodbye.